Hello everybody, welcome back. Good morning. Alright, what the hell happened? What is going on? It does feel like we're in a simulation today, or definitely last night. It's hard to watch, actually, to be honest with you. I can't think of anything like it, but now I'm not even talking about the price action. But yeah, anyway, regardless of all that madness that's going off on the internet, let's have a look at the price. Let's have a look at oil prices, just very briefly, as it is Friday, and not only is it Friday, it's D-Day, but also it's my oldest daughter's birthday. That's right, so squeeze this little video in and then continue in the Pancake Palace. Right, what we're looking at is a bounce so far off the 50 simple, 50 exponential, and also this horizontal. So we're still within the range, basically. We came down to the first low zone that we thought about, and if this zone does get lost, we have toyed with the idea of 93. I don't really think that is what's going on here. I think basically what we've seen is quite a neat and relatively tame consolidation so far from this peak down to this low. 10%. It's actually not too bad at all. On Wednesday night, we were doing the Patreon live stream, and long story short, we were talking about how stocks could pull back, how Bitcoin could pull back, how altcoins could pull back, and we were measuring moves. And most of them have more or less come down to some areas. They're all at supports. A lot of these charts are at supports, but they haven't done the full move. Something like Ethereum hasn't done its full move down, but neither has stocks, to be honest with you. In fact, stocks barely flinched yesterday. So you might still see stocks fall. That's the only problem. You might still see a pullback on stocks, and then obviously that's where it gets bad. And 95, is 93,000. Sorry, is well, almost a certainty, really, because you lose all those areas on. You lose all those magical areas that we see on Bitcoin's own chart. Bang! So we got 95, and then basically around 91 to 92, 93. Depends on how long it takes to get there, really, to see where those moving averages are. The weekly's got nothing special on it, and again 93 down here. This is the 20 moving average, and obviously go to the 4 hourly. We're below moving averages at this point, bouncing from this horizontal. So I mean, the odds are in favour of a bounce, maybe even a reversal from here, because if you go by what the daily says, that 50 exponential is all part of a golden cross. Golden cross, which took place ages ago, and narrowly avoided the death cross over here. We've got golden cross over here on simples, which technically counts as the 50 exponential and simple are more or less at the same place. So support hit basically, and what we do from here is we'll just have to wait and see. So we go to Ethereum, because again, Ethereum was banging on that death cross, wasn't it, really? The fact that it was hitting the death cross so many times in a row made me feel like it's likely to break out from here, and I think we still probably have that chance. But as we are at the bottom of the range, this is one of those opportunities where you think, all right, won't take long to know if I'm wrong, taking an opportunity, a long position, or whatever it is from here. That's the right thing to do, not only based on the daily, but the 4 hourly has done a golden cross retest. It's been messy, and we were talking about this on Wednesday night. We can have your measured moves down, we can think about supports, but if there is some kind of, I wouldn't even really call it a meltdown last night, but if there's a move down based upon what we saw in the media, an emotional response to an event of some form, you're going to get worse. It's never going to be perfect. The point is, we came down and we started closing back above them now. So this is all, like I said, golden cross retest time. There's your simples, there's your exponentials, and there's your retest, and that's what happened afterwards. So this is the first time we've seen it since. Let's move it to a weekly to see what the weekly looks like. Well, we're above the 21 and the 20, and if we zoom right in, you can see that more or less we hovered above the 21, which is what we've done 1, 2 in a row. So looks all right, I have to say. It does look all right, but like I said, yesterday we're in a range, low, high. We're going to break down, we're going to break out. We're in a range, sideways range. After a nice move up, we forget what Ethereum actually has done recently. It's done actually okay. I know that people like to measure from the top down and say how terrible it is, but from the bottom up, just recently, that was a 100%. You don't normally get that sort of thing anywhere, and you can see that there is a clear breakout from the 200 simple and exponential on the 4 hourly. It doesn't matter which way you cut it. That's a breakout, really. bang, 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 poosh, there's a breakout. So really now what we're looking to do is create a trend, an uptrend. To get the uptrend, obviously you've got to be above all moving averages to begin with, and then a little bit more time, so then they can all get themselves nicely crossed, and then use those moving averages, whichever one you want, as an appropriate support, depending how bullish you are. Just like when you lose them, they turn to resistances, and then once your death crosses kick in, they're all resistances, and the trend continues to go down. At the moment we're in between trends. Certain things, we've got silver crosses, for instance, but we don't have the golden crosses. We've got a pump signal, yet we haven't had the pump quite yet. I know that it's a fearful period in the market when world leader and co are bickering like a married couple. And the repercussions, who knows? Really, who knows? Who has a bloody clue, how this is really going to affect the market? You could think about it in two ways. There's always, and this is always the best way to think about it, there's always two ways that it could go. The first direction is that actually America's cooked and it's coming down, as is everything, in a dramatic way, because the leadership has the potential to fall apart. The second thing would be that, there is going to be an enormous amount of money flood the markets again, as well. Just the appetite for spending and debt is just it's just a bottomless pit of money thirst, and then you'll get a big flow of money into the markets, which would inflate the dollar even more and just completely smash markets in the short term, and then as in to the upside, and then just completely destroy them over the long term. That's where your depression would likely come from, to be honest. I don't know which way it's going to go. I suppose only time's going to tell. But based on the charts, which is the only real edge that I've got, and it's not a great edge, it's the only edge that I have. There's no point in me trying to boil down geopolitics at 10 to 7 in the morning. By the way, I've been up since 10 to 6. Watching presents getting unwrapped. It's not a time for me to start commenting on what's going on in the world. I can barely keep my eyes open, to be fair. But what I can tell you is that as far as the chart's concerned, they're not that bad at all. In fact, my overall projection is exactly the same as it has been yesterday, today, last week, last month. I don't see any reason to deviate from that, and just to be sure, just to refer you to what it is that I'm looking at here, it's the old total 2. The old total 2. The total 2 desires higher highs on this chart this year, and that is what I'm looking at. So any lower prices, despite how scary they might be, do warrant a spot position from myself. What you do with your capital is different, but what I do with mine is to complete this portion of the journey, the last one. And the fact that the prices are relatively low for some of these altcoins. Some of them I certainly wouldn't be buying. I'm massively in profit on some of them, but some of the others I'm not, and I'll be looking to add to those positions, because I expect the market just to trend as one, and despite those charts looking terrible. I don't see a problem with picking more up. It's not been a parabolic market, but it has been sustainable. If you own Bitcoin, even Ethereum, XRP, Solana, these sort of things, you would have had a great time. But winding it back in, I suppose you would have had a great time. You probably have had a great time, and I'm not going to complain with all that, hundreds of % gains. But when I also reflect on my stock portfolio, which is arguably just tech stocks for the most part, it's good 50% tech stocks. Sometimes you have to think, actually, why is crypto not behaving like crypto, or is it going to behave like crypto later, or is it not? Is it just going to give me the same returns as the stock market, perhaps? Thinking about buying Bitcoin versus buying Meta, more or less bought them at the same time, and they more or less both yielded the same thing. XRP, it's done well, and it's held its prices, but did it outperform Meta, really? I'm sure from its low to its high it did, but I feel like my stock portfolio is almost as good as my crypto portfolio. They're both hundreds of percent up, but neither of them are thousands of percent up. More or less the same. So, anyway, hopefully we will see this parabolic run this year. And as far as the total 2 is concerned, up, consolidation, both did the golden cross retest, bang bang, and then the next stage after that is a retest of the centre of a Bollinger Band, which is where we're at right now. So from here to here, you know, it's a few months that should yield a higher high, and I still stick with it because that's what it looks like. That's been my overall expectation, and as far as time is concerned, September should be the time. Right, that'll be it for me. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.